Will was a quiet and kind-hearted man. He worked as a traffic police officer in a busy city. Every day, he helped keep people safe on the roads. After long hours of standing under the sun, he would walk home alone, tired but peaceful. One day, after his shift at the police station, Will was walking home as usual. The sky was glowing orange, the wind was soft, and the city felt calm. But suddenly, he heard a soft chirping sound near a big tree on the side of the road. He stopped. There, on the ground, was a tiny baby bird. It had fallen from the tree. Its feathers were fluffy, its body shaking slightly. The little bird tried to move, but one of its legs was injured. Will looked up. There was no nest, no parent bird nearby. Just empty branches and fading sunlight. Will knelt down slowly and gently picked up the little bird. "Don't worry, little one," he whispered. And just like that, he decided to take the bird home. At home, Will turned a small cardboard box into a cozy nest. He gave the bird warm cloth, clean water, and crushed seeds. Every morning before work, he made sure the bird was safe. Every evening, he talked to it, smiled at its tiny chirps, and slowly, they became like family. 2 weeks passed. The bird's leg had healed. It could flap its wings and hop inside the cage Will had made. One evening, after coming home from work, Will looked at the bird and smiled. "Tomorrow's my day off," he said. "We'll go outside, and I'll let you fly free." That night, Will went to bed with a peaceful heart. But fate had a different plan. As midnight came, dark clouds gathered. A terrible storm hit the city. Rain poured down, wind howled, and thunder shook the skies. Suddenly, a loud crack of lightning struck the very tree near Will's home. The giant tree collapsed, crashing into Will's house. The wall was damaged, and worst of all, the bird's cage was buried under heavy debris. When morning came, the storm was over. But the damage was done. Will ran to the cage, digging through pieces of wood and leaves. But it was too late. The little bird had died. Tears filled Will's eyes. He held the small, lifeless body in his hands. With deep sorrow, he dug a small hole in his garden and gently placed the bird inside. He buried it with love and silence. That morning, Will went to work. He wore his uniform, but not his usual smile. As he stood in the middle of the road, directing traffic, his eyes looked distant. His heart felt empty. In the police station, he sat at his desk. But he couldn't focus. He just stared, thinking of the bird, the quiet moments, the bond they had shared. Later that day, while standing again at a street corner, something soft brushed against his boot. He looked down, surprised. A small, chubby bird with bright eyes was standing next to him. It chirped softly, tilting its head like it knew him. Will smiled for the first time that day. He knelt down, and the little bird hopped onto his hand without fear. It didn't fly away. It stayed. Will laughed quietly. It felt like life was giving him a second chance. From that day on, whenever Will stood on the street doing his job, the little bird would be there too. Sitting on his shoulder, hopping around his boots, chirping softly in the middle of traffic and chaos, reminding him that kindness always finds its way back. Glowing star. End of story. Moral: even small acts of love leave a mark. Sometimes, life takes something away, but love always returns in a new form.